Three, two, and one. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for tuning in, as always, for our Lunch and Learn series. This is our last Lunch and Learn of the month. It is Wednesday, December 22nd. Thank you, as always, for again tuning in. Guys, on this one, it's just going to be me speaking and going over some slides with you all. We'll go back to normal production at the start of the year. But without further ado, as always, guys, we want to make this short and sweet. This one is awesome. I'm really excited for this. Again, and at the end of the year, I think we did something just like this last year. We started our Lunch and Learns a year ago, right around this time frame. So, again, I'm so grateful to be able to do this continually. Guys, this one's all about setting up goals for the new year. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. So the overview real quick, guys. Whether you want to call it a New Year's resolution or a goal, having goals for yourself can be a great thing. And the new year is the perfect time to think about what you want your future to be like. In this Lunch and Learn, we're going to review healthy ways to go about achieving these goals for the new year and the factors to keep in mind while setting realistic goals for ourselves. We're going to touch on topics such as creating SMART goals, which is an acronym as you'll see broken down later, tracking your progress, and how smaller steps will ultimately lead to achieving much larger goals. So real quick, let's start with some things to consider when actually setting goals. Things to consider. Remember, goals are going to vary from person to person, and when we set goals for ourselves, we can make these things as big or small as we like. We may set personal goals for ourselves or even goals for work. Whatever we choose, there are so many different types of goals that we can set for ourselves. So when deciding our goal for next year, I think it's helpful to think about how we did in our last year's resolutions, and what we set for ourselves. This is important because it may help us realize what we did wrong last time, or what we can improve on, and what we can work on for this year's goals. So think about a few things. Did you reach a lot of your goals? Do you have a good reason to celebrate? Are you super excited that, the end of the year is coming, you're going to be able to produce and create a whole bunch of new ideas and again have some game plans? Well, ultimately, again, guys, the whole purpose and the whole point of this is to be able to, again, just set some realistic expectations so we are better set to be able to, again, have a successful, what we consider, outcome to the year. Ask yourselves, where'd you get stuck, and where should our focus actually be for this coming up year? So here we are. Let's talk about this SMART goal acronym that I was speaking about earlier. So when setting up a goal, try to make sure that they are always SMART. And so what this means, the S. So S stands for specific. What is the resolution? Is it specific enough, or is it too broad? What needs to be done to achieve it? Why do you want to reach it? Really ask yourself what it is that you're actually trying to accomplish here, and get as specific as possible as you can. The more defined you get with your goal itself, the more likely you are to achieve it. M stands for measurable. How are we going to be able to track this progress? And how are we going to know and continue? How are we going to be able to see if we're actually continuing to be on track? So whatever goal you're looking for, make sure that is there ability to easily measure this? Because again, you need to know your progress as you continue on. If it hits the middle of the year next year, like July, and you have not been tracking status, for example, let's say a workout routine, then how are you really going to know how, again, you're progressing? Attainable. Can your goal actually be achieved? Be realistic with this. It's hard when you're thinking about a year's goal. Be realistic in a sense, and don't say things like, "Oh, I hope to, let's say, accomplish and gain X amount of dollars." When you set up stuff like that and you give yourself a time frame, it really can cause a lot of unwanted anxiety. So for the most part, there's nothing wrong with saying I would like to make X amount of dollars, but putting a definitive date on it can really set you up to again, to fail. So make sure that whatever it is we're setting, it's actually attainable. Now, is this realistic? Relevant? Can we achieve it? Is the actual resolution worth it? The energy and effort that we put into whatever this goal is going to be, is it actually going to be worth at the very, very end? And then time. What's the time frame for reaching the goal? Do we actually have the ability to get this knocked out? Are we going to take on too many responsibilities that we actually might not be able to accomplish it? because that's definitely a possibility. If you set these things and you do not have enough time and you're putting on too much on your list, then you're again possibly setting yourself up for failure. So those are our smarts. So next step, after you make sure your goals are hitting that SMART acronym, the next thing you want to do, visualize. So visualizing your goals is a fun step. It's one that's going to surely help you keep motivated. When you physically print or write down your goals, and I definitely recommend handwriting, you are more likely to commit them to memory. You should write down each of your resolutions and why they're important to you. So here are some simple ways to help visualize your goals. You can keep a journal, you can create a blog or talk about, you can build a vision board. Speaking of vision board, we're definitely be doing something really cool next year about a community vision board, so stay tuned out for that for the campus itself. Moving on to tracking this progress. Again, this is part of our acronym of SMART. However, this is definitely its own thing. It needs to be on the forefront of, again, a lot of your goals that you have. If you're really looking to attain stuff, I can tell you now, if you're not writing down what the ultimate goal is and then breaking those large goals into smaller steps, then you're essentially going to end up probably missing the mark, unfortunately, or again, setting yourself up for an anxiety-ridden resolution. So to stay motivated with these resolutions, we want to see them through. We need to review this progress regularly. We're going to want to check in daily, weekly, monthly. However, whatever type of goals we have, we need to see what works best for us. And again, this is why writing down these resolutions or breaking them into smaller parts, as I just mentioned, is important to setting a 2022 goal. We're going to want to check in and see where we're at periodically. And again, we want to continue to, if it helps, to make notes on this progress as we go. Remember, most likely we're going to fall off track when it comes to setting goals. And again, there's nothing wrong with this. But we don't want this to cause us to ignore the resolutions or become overwhelmed, or feel all of a sudden as if though we're losing confidence. To make big resolutions more achievable, again, think about small things you can do on a daily basis that'll help you reach your goals. Remember, even small steps in the right direction can lead to successful 2022 goals. Last thing we want to touch on, again, when setting some examples and some goals for yourself, the ultimate thing is to think, don't overwhelm yourself. Don't stress it too much. But again, most important thing is try to have fun. Because at the end of the day, the type of goals that we set for ourselves are ultimately going to decide the fate that we have, the type of life that we have. And the more we write, the more we plan, the more we think about these things, the more direction and control we actually have over our lives, which is, again, setting us for much more success in all areas of our life: health, wealth, wellness, happiness, and much more. Guys, as always, I really appreciate you all for tuning in. Let's get off this. Let's set some goals for the new year. If you already have some in mind, please comment them in the section below. We'd love to hear from you guys. Other than that, we will see you all in the new year. I'll see you in person. Can't wait. Take care, everybody.